I wasn't even being paid. I felt like कि यार मेरे बेटे ने कुछ और he's made something extremely creative in my youth. Being 24 feels like a very big thing right now.
What is up? What is up, guys? What is up? Welcome, guys, to the podcast again. And today we have a very special guest and friend of mine, Anurag. We're just going to introduce him in 1 second. All of you, welcome to the podcast. And this podcast is going to be really insightful fun. We're going to talk about a lot of shit from design and also talk about how he has been doing in Flipkart. And so, yeah, welcome, Anurag. Just going to get you on the screen. What's up? What's up?
Hello,
How's everything
what's
going?
up, man? It's going great. How are you doing?
I'm
Long
good.
time.
I'm good. I'm good. How's Flipkart? How's work?
Flipkart is crazy. It's a lot of work, but it's just a lot of learning, and yeah, it's honestly I think once we go forward, I'll be able to elaborate further.
Perfect. Super awesome. So just for the viewers, Anurag, can you just introduce yourself in a bit, and then we're gonna start.
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone, whoever's watching this. My name is Anurag. I am a product designer too at Flipkart. It's been about 4 5 years now that I've been in this industry, and I started out as a graphic designer. Um, I I think I honestly started out making posters or headboards for my college fest, and from that to where I am right now, uh, it's been a really crazy journey. Uh, and I started out like my formal education is in engineering, so I was an IT engineer. Uh, so it's a big shift, but I've had a lot of people close to me who've also made those kind of really difficult decisions, which helped me, of course, and it encouraged me to be here. So yeah, nice to be here.
Super awesome. Just gonna start with the curious question I ask everyone here. How exactly did you become curious about design in your early days? While it can be from school days, it can be even from your childhood. But how did you got curious about design, and how did design came into your life?
Yeah, I'll be honest. So this is probably sometime in eighth grade.
Hmm.
I think my parents were working on some PowerPoint, and I just went in and I started dabbling around with that PowerPoint. मैंने कुछ animations add कर दिए, and you know how parents are, right? They see something, they see कि यार मेरे बेटे ने कुछ और- he's made something extremely creative. And I was like, fuck, okay, this is where I can go. This is my direction in life. But that was very short lived. I ended up, so a lot of my interest grew with respect to computer science. I started getting really good at coding. Um, and this was more with respect to front end development. I used to create like really cool websites, at least at that time. Um, And when I came to college, I think it was my first day at NMIMS, and I I saw what they were teaching. I appreciated everything that they had to teach, but नहीं था यार. Like I completely lost track. I, I was just very discouraged from the get go because there was just a lot of PowerPoint presentations that were just coming out from the professor. Uh, I'm the kind of person who really needs a really good mentor to guide him through the entire process. And so, like I was mentioning in my intro, that when I think it was 2 months into college, and the college fest, okay, recruitments were going on. And the recruitments are basically you get volunteers, and the recruiters are basically these heads who come in to tell you ki, yaar, this is the craziest fest that you're ever going to be part of.
Yeah.
You have to be a part of this shit. And I was excited. I was very naive. and I just got into it. I overpromised so much, like in my initial days, कि, yeah, I'll make this in 2 hours. I'll make a crazy animation in just 15-20 minutes or something and shit like that. And it was a lot of fun to like now looking back, it's a lot of fun. At that time, of course, it wasn't the best deal, but there was this guy who really taught me everything with respect to graphic design. He told me how to exactly navigate through it, and it was a lot of YouTube videos. It was a lot of offline learning. I bought a lot of books. I'm an avid reader, and that's essentially what really propelled me into this field. And that is how I actually got curious about design. I've never really been someone who's had that kind of inclination towards art initially, but ever since I got into college, ever since I got into that fest, I think, is when every bit of my mind just screamed out creativity. Every bit of my mind just screamed out that this is a medium where I can actually express myself. Um, so yeah, I think that's where it started.
Super awesome. I think I have heard from a lot of guests like clubs and fest were kind of the motivators for them. While hearing about those, for sure, I think a lot of people in college kind of like say things to kind of impress seniors, I will say.
Yeah,
But it's a hectic job for sure. Like
yeah,
then we have to deliver it, which is one of the fastest, I think, delivery we would have ever do in our life.
yeah.
But going into deep into this, you told about you like having mentor is an important part of your journey. At that time, I'm assuming that you said you started from eighth. While at that time you would not even be have clearance of like what exactly direction you want to go in. But in college, when you had that direction, the design and creativity is something that you want to go, and you told about that person who told you about how to grow into it. How did you find that person? How what like today we have a lot of platforms like ADP List, even you can reach out on LinkedIn. But how at that time you kind of did that?
At that time, I was very lucky. The guy who really helped me navigate through it, he was a part of that team
Hmm.
in that fest. And that was one year where, so to most people, this would seem like a story, what, this is how Anurag Shastri got into design, this is how Anurag Shastri started graphic designing. But to be honest, that was a very important time for me because I actually made my entire life decision at that point without even
Hmm.
realizing it. I got into a field that I love, absolutely love, without knowing anything about it. So,
Yeah.
uh, like I said, I was very lucky at that time that that senior of mine was there, and he was an absolute bully, but again, helped me out a lot.
Super awesome. I think, but what about now? Like you still feel like having a mentor is that important, or you still feel like exploring your own journey is important?
Both.
Okay.
So I've had mentors at every stage after uh, that first year of college. So the first year of college was my senior. Um, Second and third year, I was just philandering about in college, getting grades luckily and also doing well. I think one thing that was very motivating for me was the fact that people were appreciating what I was putting out there. Of course, there were a lot of people with opinions कि यार ये ऐसा क्यों बनाया तुमने, but it was good for me to actually get that kind of feedback early on. Uh, I think 3 years of my life at that time was just me navigating through what I'm supposed to be doing. I had half a mind of actually going into a design school. I had half a mind of going full fledged, star crazy about product designing and UX designing. I think in my third and fourth year actually is when I found this one professor who was an absolute beauty of a person. She she really pushed me, and honestly, everyone in my class. It was an elective that we had taken, and she really pushed me specifically because she was researching about HCI, and I I knew UX designing, but it was just my research that had come into play. And then she came into the picture. She explained things from a very different perspective. So that was one mentorship that I kind of got. Then when I moved out of college, I think for 4 months or so, I was freelancing. I was looking for a job as well. That was a time when COVID had happened and everyone was at home. So that happened. Then I started an agency thing. That was the time when I was really navigating on my own. That was about 9, 10 months where a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of courses that I took. Um, I did an I did an nano degree course on Udacity. I did an HFI course after that. These courses really like at least solidified the base of what design should be in my head. And when I got into Lollipop, is when I actually got again a really good mentor. Um, his name is Niklang Jain. He's the VP of design at Vodafone Idea. So my role at Lollipop was basically that I was part of the outsourced team to Vodafone Idea. My work rarely coincided with what Lollipop was doing with respect to other projects. I wasn't one of the designers that was on the that could switch around between projects. I was specifically on retainer. I was hired for Vodafone Idea, and and it was over 3, 4 months into Lollipop when Niklang joined in, and he just changed my perspective. He brought into my mind how I'm supposed to actually think product first, not look at interaction specifically. So that changed, and then when I came here to Flipkart again, I have an incredible mentor right now. I have an incredible set of mentors actually, but the one person that I end up looking to most is, and honestly, a lot of people in the team look up to most is Samir. He is the director of design.
Hmm.
So I'm lucky enough to actually. I'm lucky enough that he accepted the fact that I'm mentoring this child. And so yeah, it's important to do both. You do at some point, of course, you do require some guidance. It's a very difficult journey. You don't know how to go about things. Most of the time, you end up looking at hustling videos. You look at side income streams. You I don't know, go through websites as though they're candy stores, and just wondering what am I supposed to do. But it's been a crazy journey for me. Even I ended up mentoring a few people on ADP at some point, and the reason why I did that was just because I knew how difficult my journey was. Uh, I had I had a slightly difficult experience at my first job as well. It was a kind of toxic environment, but again, I'm glad where I am right now.
Super awesome, man. I think one thing that people can take out of this particular journey is that the kind of experiences that you had were very important to shape you in terms of what design is and exactly to kind of grow yourself as a designer. Like you said about in Lollipop, you got a great mentor. You did that nano degree to kind of solidify your base and other courses, which I really like about experiences that people need to experience things to kind of uh, gain that clarity over things. Which I really want people to kind of get out of this. Let's get more into. I think you told about that you did a agency in the start about right. So how did that freelancing thing go? How did you even thought like you wanted to start that instead of joining a job? Like how did that came into picture?
I have been freelancing ever since my second year of college, actually. So, again, it was that, again, I've been very lucky in my life. It was that time when the entire wave of design was going on, when people were actually understanding that design, not just product designing, but design as itself is a very important thing. Um, People were going anywhere and everywhere, and that was a time when the creator community was actually commencing, or at least starting to grow. I don't think commencing is the right word, but that was a time when most people were starting out their Instagram pages, starting out their Twitter profiles. Everyone wanted some logo or the other. Everyone was trying to rebrand in some way, without actually knowing what rebranding is. Um, and that was a time when I actually got a lot of leads, because I worked very hard for that fest, and I don't even know why. I wasn't even being paid. I felt like I felt like I was slaving for no reason, and I was slaving on my own recognizance. It wasn't like someone was telling me कि भाई आज तू बैठ रात भर ये काम कर. I was just doing it because I really wanted to learn something new, and that kind of made me popular as the person who really works hard
Okay.
at this stuff, and that's how I think my name got passed around. I got a lot of leads from there. One freelance opportunity to the next, the next, the next, and it becomes a cycle after that. So I had been freelancing for about 4 5 years. I stopped in uh, 2021 because if doing a full time role plus moonlighting, it just gets very hectic. And I
Agreed.
was, yeah, I just didn't want to go about it.
It's all. It's. I agree. I agree. It's really hectic, but I really loved about how that hard work, and obviously for sure now that hard work did paid off like where you are. But
Yeah,
so and you did got leads at that time as well. So it did pay off for sure. It was a hustle. And
yeah,
but the one thing that you said I really like is about you would wanted to do hard work because you wanted to learn something new. It was it and while you obviously you were doing hard work and thousand other things, but the motivation was that you wanted to learn something new, you wanted to like do something new, and that's what kind of
yeah.
led you to other things for sure. So let's go more into like then how did Lollipop then came into picture, like when did you decide that you really wanted to join that, and how was the experience there?
So I was at Ting for about 9 months, and I think I was doing a good job for the kind of designer I was then, because I was pushed into a position where I kind of had to mentor a team while also be the sole UX designer. Uh, it was just a very odd space, but somehow I had gotten an understanding how things are supposed to work in an agency.
Hmm.
Um, and I felt like I felt like I had taken in everything that that place had to offer. I've been a quick learner, and I think that was a good thing for me. And one of the leads from Lollipop then reached out to me on LinkedIn. I think they were looking for someone for Vodafone Idea, and then I was lucky enough to get that opportunity. I gave my interview, and I was hired. And then for 2 months, everything was just so crazy because I everything that I had learned had to unlearn specifically for that role, because things were a lot more defined at Lollipop. Everyone was very welcoming. Lollipop's a great place because the people are really nice. Um, Again, there are obviously cons of being an agency, but again, it helped. And my role at Lollipop was very different from everyone else, in the sense that everyone else had joined an agency. I kind of joined a product design company through an agency.
Hmm.
So slightly different virtues for me. I got an understanding of what an agency is, what
Yeah.
product design is. Just yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, how then Flipkart came into picture? When did you? Why did you decide to kind of leave a lollipop and then get into a product based exactly?
Hmm. Uh, so I've been thinking about this for a while. So I left sorry, I left Lollipop in March
Hmm.
of this year, and so at that when I had resigned, so we have a 3 month notice period. When I had resigned, I had this thought process. We just went through an entire design revamp, like a visual design revamp, and we like cleaned up a lot of the experience as well. And in my head, I honestly had this thought was कि यार मैंने अभी कुछ उखाड़ लिया है. I've done something proficient in this at this role, and I left with the same intention कि I really want to grow quickly. I just wanted to move forward to the next level um, in the right direction. And of course, there are obvious benefits of being in a product design place. I mean, at a product company. Uh, it's not the agency culture. It's different. It's a lot more defined. A lot more uh, beneficial. And I Flipkart was not the first choice or the first thing that I had in mind. At that time, I used to look at Flipkart, its design, the app, and like most people at that time, I wasn't a fan of it. But I had, of course, applied to about 30-ish jobs, and after like 5 interviews or so, and I applied to like abroad, like companies abroad. I really did not want to stay in India. I had that thought process in mind. Um, but I was lucky enough that I didn't qualify for a lot of those roles. But I did qualify for the role that I am in right now. The hiring manager, like my manager right now, she saw something in me that probably even I didn't see. But I've begun to see now that this is why she hired me. This is the kind of benefit that I can bring into picture. So honestly, leaving Lollipop was maybe an impulsive decision at the time, because I've really matured as a person after coming to Flipkart as a designer as well. I've kind of realized that when you end up wanting to grow quickly, it's very unsustainable because you end up getting things at the wrong moment. And
Hmm.
that sort of maturity only comes in when you go through multiple experience. I am very proud to admit that I've failed at least 2, 3 times at Flipkart till now with respect to my projects. Once to my my mentor basically shredded me for one of the projects that I was working on, and I redid that entire project with with an ego boost. I was like, "कि भाई अभी तो I have to create something crazy." Um, so yeah, that's how that's why Flipkart actually came to the picture, and yeah.
Super interesting, man. I think the next question I really wanted to ask, like you have kind of did your own agency, like you did freelancing for quite a while, and then you did Lollipop, and then you kind of now are in a product. What experiences did you will say that? uh, kind of differentiator, what will they say is do you want to choose one? I'm assuming you would not, but what kind of experiences would say kind of they got you?
What kind of experiences, like, what like defining experiences in each
Yeah,
stage?
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, okay, so I'll be honest about this as well. With my freelancing career, there were projects where I think the first project that I worked on, my first freelance project, I didn't even get paid for it.
Hmm.
Uh, like, I still haven't gotten paid for it. I've been sending him Diwali messages, but I've stopped asking him कि भाई मेरा पैसा कहाँ पर है? So I just I think at every stage I really learned how to unlearn things. I really learned how to be more patient as a person, as a designer. Um, at at Flipkart, I've learned how to really let things be. Like there's not a requirement to change everything that you see in your uh, path. That some things are best as is, some things can be changed slowly.
Hmm.
At Lollipop, I think it was the opposite, where I realized that everyone around me just wanted to make sure that we created a beautiful experience because we went through an entire visual revamp, and
Hmm.
that's a lot of creative freedom that you end up giving to a designer when you tell them कि यार बनाओ. There's no guideline, just create. um, that was a fun experience. When I came over here, I understood what constraints are, what boundaries are. How do you adhere to a design system? At Lollipop, I understood how to create a design system. Very different experiences. Over here, I have to contribute to the design system by making sure that I look at the thousand use cases that we have, and then making sure that the one element that I create, it works for all thousand like use cases. So yeah, I think very defining experiences in each, just unlearning, a lot of patience, um, and a lot with respect to design as well. You end up maturing as a designer. Yeah.
Interesting, man. Interesting insight for sure. I think uh, one insight that I really loved about here is like being patient is really important. That you don't have to kind of rechange everything. You have
Yeah.
to kind of settle down, understand more and more of why these things are. So I think some of these experiences that I have even faced, like I would wanna change a lot of things, but there
Yeah.
has been a reason why they have not been changed. We have to understand those first to
Yeah.
kind of get the bigger picture. Let's dive more into a open-ended question that I really ask everyone who comes. Uh, like your journey has been super fantastic. Like you're currently at Flipkart, but what's next in your life? What's next for Anurag? What's next for you in your life?
What's next for me? Uh, I think for me, it's defining the niche that I've thought about. Um, so my brother, he is a strategist. He works at an agency in Toronto, and when he was in Mumbai, he worked for TDV Mudra. So he's had a very colorful career as well. And he started out as a management trainee, and he was in the pharmaceutical industry. Then he went into advertising, just complete shift in spectrum, and so he really pushed me into thinking about how to um, grow yourself as a strategist. And there are some similarities in what I do and what he does. My work is more, or at least my future work is going to be more with respect to how I want to be as a design strategist, how I want to be a better manager, a better product manager as a product designer. Like so, for example, I ended up doing this online course from Emeritus. So this was with respect to understanding what product management is, and I did so not with the intent to actually become a product manager. Most people like who have heard this have only thought, "Ki, okay, you're shifting into product management." No, I love what I'm doing. I just wanted to understand the essence of what product
Hmm.
management is and how I'm supposed to think as a product manager while being a product designer. So, right, I think the next entire year is just going to be pushing myself. Um, I have a lot of work to be done with respect to personal branding as well, and I really want to grow in that space as well. I've created a lot of work in my youth. Being 24 feels like a very big thing right now. I think the past 2 3 years have just aged me to a point where I feel like I'm 30.
Yeah,
So, uh, yeah, I think my indiscriminate youth, all those artworks that I need to push out again.
yeah.
So, yeah, just everything and anything that's under the sun, I want to do.
Amazing, man. I hope it all works out for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
One of the last question I ask everyone who comes on the podcast
Mhm.
is, what are the two tips that you can give to any budding designer who is trying to get into design? What tips or advices would you give them?
Yeah. Okay. Uh, I'll give you one generic one, and I'll give you one thing from my own experience. The most generic one that I can give to any budding designer is please don't stop asking questions. At some point, you'll get tired. At some point, you will feel, ki, okay, let's just do whatever they're saying. Please don't do that. Just at every point, if you feel like this is not the right experience, be open to feedback, be open to changing your thought process, but ask questions, even if it is as stupid as you think it could be. Even if you're ashamed to ask that question, just ask. Because there's a high possibility, knowing the kind of leaders that are there in the design industry now, that they probably won't judge you for it. They just understand you and actually answer your question. Like, they won't embarrass you for the question that you're asking. That's one advice that I would give. Second, that I would give, which honestly I've learned over the past 2 years, is that you need to be a lot more patient. Everything will come to you when it has to be. Uh, and this is more with respect to just everything, not just with respect to design or your career. Just start being more patient about how things are happening. Um, your life will start passing you by. You might feel like you're on autopilot at some level, but it's okay. You're good where you are. That's all I'll say.
Interesting, man. Super awesome. Super advices. I think it is definitely gonna make people understand that uh, what is really important to kind of start as a product designer, or just as a generic designer. Uh,
Excuse me.
Super awesome, man. Super awesome. Anything before we kind of end this? Anything would you like to say to the audience?
No, man. Nothing else. I would say that everyone should just learn as much as possible, and please like, comment, subscribe to Abhay Chopra's channel. We need more
Sure, man.
subscribers for Abhay Chopra because this is some amazing content that he's been creating.
Trying my best, man. Trying my best. Thanks a lot, man. For sure, I'm gonna link your LinkedIn in the description for anyone if you want they want to reach out to you. Sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. I think thanks a lot for coming in and thanks a lot for sharing your journey. Uh, Definitely gonna help a lot of people. I'm not going lie. I think it's been
Yeah.
a wonderful podcast, and people are going to learn from it. Super awesome, man. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, see you guys in the next one.